The Survivor auction was one of the greatest reward challenges Survivor has ever seen, but since advantages have become more prominent and the game continues to evolve, the auction has been phased out as it no longer functions the way it was designed to. This is Analytical Strategy, and today we are going to be discussing how the introduction of fire tokens into the game could bring the auction back to modern Survivor. We will commence this video by delving into the flaws of both the auction and fire tokens in modern Survivor, and then come up with a viable solution to use them both together so they can still exist in today's game. So the Survivor auction was the reward that every Survivor contestant wanted to be a part of. Each player wanted to make it to that very moment, as they knew that everyone had the chance of food, regardless of their physical or mental prowess at that stage in the game. As Survivor evolved, so did the prevalence of advantages in the game, and therefore adding clues to idols, or advantages at immunity challenges, became a staple in the Survivor auction. Due to this, many contestants would pass up food items, and just await for that advantage to be called, really defeating the purpose of how the auction was originally designed to function. We haven't seen the auction since Season 30, Survivor Worlds Apart, where Shirin even further metagamed the auction by telling someone to bid $20 for a letter from home, so everyone in the game had the chance to get one by matching that bid. It no longer operates in the way it was designed to, but maybe, just maybe, the introduction of fire tokens can rectify that. So fire tokens were recently introduced as a currency within Survivor Winners at War, to further highlight that Survivor is somewhat a replication of everyday society, but more importantly, as a way to keep contestants on the edge of extinction relevant within the game. It was a way to exchange advantages from the edge to players still in the main game, so those on the edge could obtain this currency to purchase advantages for the challenge, to get back in the game, and if fortunate enough, an idol or two as well, and occasionally a food item like peanut butter. Players in the game had the opportunity to purchase Survivor supplies like tarps, but this was never going to happen, so really the players were pretty much in the dark about how they were going to be used for the majority of the game. Due to this, the functionality of tokens was really flawed to those that were still in the main game. The accumulation of tokens really meant nothing in hindsight, and given players put themselves in difficult situations to obtain tokens they didn't really need, didn't really work for the way the players anticipated either. Not to mention they abruptly stopped the use of them overall towards the end of the game. So in future seasons, the edge of extinction will no longer exist due to its negative reputation, but it still sounds as though fire tokens will play a role in Survivor, so production really needs to think of how this will work moving forward. My proposal is at the beginning of the game, Jeff tells the castaways the auction is back this season, but they won't be using American currency to purchase the items, but they will be using the fire tokens they accumulate throughout the game. This way, those who obtain tokens throughout the game actually get an advantage over the other contestants when it comes down to crunch time to purchase food, advantages, or other rewards. I would also consider making this a silent auction, where each item can be assessed in advance, and then contestants can bid on them individually prior to receiving them in private. This way, the amount of tokens each player has can be hidden throughout the season, as well as advantages or other items they may receive at the auction. Even if it was structured the same way as a normal auction, prior to the auction, players could exchange each token for say $50 to be used at the auction to make their purchases. This way, it is unlikely players will have the same amount of money leading into the auction, and therefore contestants won't be waiting around until the advantage pops up, as they won't be able to afford it. People with a lesser amount of money will bid on standard items, which will make the auction run much more smoothly and more like the olden days, but also giving production what they require in terms of new strategies that can be implemented to obtain tokens, to benefit the players obtaining them. If tokens continue to be used the way they were in Winners at War, players will quickly realize they are pretty worthless, and it will be another fail twist introduced into the game. Having an auction that the contestants know will be in play later down the track, and know it will contain advantages that can benefit their games, may just save this idea during the modern era. Fire tokens could be obtained in more ways than just being bequeathed to an individual when someone is voted out of their game, but also through pre-merge challenge wins, to being hidden around camp, or even hidden in challenges themselves. The bequeathing aspect I think should stay, as it further benefits those with high social abilities. To be able to vote someone out and then receive their tokens is an amazing strategic play. Very similar to Sarah obtaining Sierra's advantage in Survivor Game Changers, in one of the more underrated moves this game has ever seen. I think many Survivor fans would love to see the auction return, and production would love to continue with the big move era of Survivor, and to also continue experimenting with the concept of fire tokens, and this just may be a way that both of these ideas can coincide in the same game together. So what do you all think of this concept? Do you think this could be a way to bring the auction back into Survivor? If you have any other ideas of how tokens or the auction could work, please let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe for more Survivor content coming your way each and every week. This is Analytical Strategy and we are signing out once again. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.